Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. And it is a busy weekend of racing across Britain and Ireland, but we're going to be focusing in on the best of the action at Newbury, Doncaster and Kelso. As well as that, we have some Cheltenham Festival doubles to bring you towards the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm being joined, as ever, by Declan Rix and Sam Boswell. Dec, we are not far away from the festival now. Are you fully immersed in the festival spirit?
Yes, I think so. Usually it comes a little bit earlier. I get a thing called Cheltenham fever, you know, can't concentrate, working poorly, the rest of it. But sadly, it seems like Constitution Hill has got that this year instead of me. So wishing the great horse well. Let's hope he makes the Cheltenham Festival. That will brighten us all up if he does.
Yeah, Sam, it's never dull in this game, is it? Nothing is guaranteed at all, and that has been proven, as Dex just said, borne out this week.
No, I feel like I've been living on WhatsApp and sort of Twitter and X, just trying to see all the updates on Constitution Hill and, you know, messaging the traders, like, have you seen this now? And it's really hard for us to make a market on it. Fingers crossed he gets there, because I do think the meeting needs him. Nicky Henderson's obviously done his best to try and keep everyone as informed as possible, which is a good thing. It's what everyone wants to see, and we'll see how we get on. But we just need to make sure we're in good form going to the festival. Got my nap last week, but I wouldn't mind a few bigger price winners going in this week.
Yes, very well done on that, though. The same. I just seemed to side with non-runners last week, so I'm hoping that I might actually get a run for my money, but the rain has really been pouring down. But we will cover the weather angles and exactly what that's going to do for the three tracks that we're going to be covering in just a moment. But before we get on with the action, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, we begin down south at Newbury with the BetVictor Greatwood Gold Cup Handicap Chase, a premier handicap chase for 5 odds and over 2 mile 4 at 155, of course, live on Sky Sports Racing. So, Dec, first stab at this one goes to you.
Yes, given the timing of the year, my horse is maybe a bit of a topical selection, topically named a little bit in El Cheltenham. Yeah, I've been two things for this horse. I've always thought what he needs soft ground and he needs some pace to run at, and I think he's going to get both here. He did run last week at Kempton. He ran very well. There was no pace in the race. He probably travelled a little bit too strongly, was a little bit too far out of his ground. Then he had to switch. But what was really interesting about that race, I thought he drifted from 11-4 out to 13-2, suggesting that the Skeleton team were maybe eyeing up this race, which is no surprise given Sammy Boswell's putting 57 grand up to the winner here. So I thought he would go very close. I would say one thing though, the pace element of he does need it to settle, but that also puts extra kind of emphasis on jumping ability. He has struggled with his jumping in the past, but I do think he's getting better, and if Kieran Gethins can get him into a lovely rhythm early, I think in a race where a lot of the market leaders won't be as suited to the ground as he will, I think he will go very close.
Yeah, big galloping track surely will suit him more. So only big horse as well, big knee action then on him as well, and just a keen going type, so more likely to suit him. And a credit then for you dipping into your own pocket there, Sam, for the sponsorship of this one.
Yeah, I hope it's not my pocket it's coming out of, but no, really good. And obviously we keep Greatwood in the name as well. The charity do some fantastic work. I'd urge anyone, if you're looking to contribute to an equine charity, there's certainly one to put on your shortlist. But as for my shortlist for this race, I thought this was a really good renewal. And I'm not just saying that as a sponsor, but I could make a case for most of them. Even Gustavian out there, who's technically the outsider of the field, but my pin came down much closer to the front of the betting, and it's Grand Dam, who I think is a really curious runner for Alan King here. You've got to forgive the run the last day, unseated at the first.
When my money was on him.
Yeah, we'll blame you for that one,
yeah,
Kate.
Exactly. I got a great run for it, right to the first fence.
But prior to that, going back in the form, but the fourth, I thought, in that December Gold Cup looks really, really solid at Cheltenham. And I really liked the manner of his win when I watched back the replays at Wetherby, and that came on soft to heavy ground. Now, we're recording this Friday morning. We've all driven in absolute floods of rain. It sounds like the ground's going to be closer to heavy than soft at Newbury. So I wanted a horse on my side that I know will go in the conditions. Alan King seems to be having a bit of a mid-season renaissance, I think it's fair to say. I'm sure they'll be very excited with Edwardstone heading towards the festival and a select group of others. But the other thing I'll just add as well, if you look at the owners of this horse, they've got some very strong connections to the track. So I'm sure they'll be wanting to try and get a win at their own track. And I'm not saying it's necessarily been the target all season, this race, but it seems nicely aligned, and I thought 4-1 was fair. Wouldn't want to take any shorter, and I just think you might get a bit bigger come the race.
I'm going to have a saver on him, because it's always the way, isn't it? If you side with a horse so confidently last time out and you got no sort of run for your money, you have to have a bit of a saver on them again. So I think I'll have a little bit on him, but my main play though is going to be Can Do Kid in this. Now I'm going to be, a theme of mine I feel throughout this show is going to be forgiveness. And I have to forgive this lad for last time out. He pulled up over 3 miles, but that was his first go beyond 2-4. But it did look as though it was more than just his stamina which let him down. But as I say, I'm willing to give him another chance, back down in distance, given prior to last time out he was so progressive, second on 3 occasions to go with a win over this course and distance in December in a Class 2 handicap chase off of an £11 lower mark than he's on now, but he's running off £1 lower than last time out, back in a handicap. And when you look back at his second behind Jello in that Grade 2 novices chase at Ascot earlier on in the season, that was a really likeable run, and he wasn't helped by going right-handed there either. I think going left-handed again, much better for him, track and trip to suit. So I'll forgive Can Do Kid. Deck.
I'm all about the Cheltenham. Let it rain, baby.
Let it rain. Sam.
Grand Duran for me.
Right, 3 different selections in our opening race, but it is that type of a contest. Again, do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. But before we move on to our next race, if you're enjoying the show, and we really hope that you are, do remember to like and subscribe to the Out The Races YouTube channel, and also hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Right, we look north now, up to Scotland, off to Kelso, because we have the Moor Battle Hurdle, a handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 miles at 250. And of course, whoever wins this, should they then go on to the Cheltenham Festival, they are entitled to a £100,000 bonus, which is on offer. So Sam, who wins the first leg of this potential double at least?
Yeah, it's obviously been done as well, and fair play for anyone that managed to achieve it, because in the modern era of training, I think this is really, really hard thing to do. But let's hope someone can, because I do think it's an interesting initiative. I had a few on the shortlist. Benson, I thought, for a team that was absolutely flying, was very fair at a double-figure price. I'm just not sure he's that well handicapped, but I did like his chances. But Sky Cutter for me is going to be the selection, and I think the wetter it gets, kind of, the more worried I'd be about a few in here. But I don't think that applies to him. Seems to be pretty versatile on the ground. It's quite interesting to see he joined the Skelton team, had the 3 runs to date, and kind of didn't learn anything from the match race at Bangor where he started off his season, then went to Wincanton and ended up down the field. And I think they were a little bit disappointed by that. Maybe just the pace of the race didn't quite suit. But back to winning ways at Carlisle. That was an emphatic win over a fair trip, similar trip to today. 5-length winner, I should say. That would be impressive, wouldn't it? He'd have gone up more than the £6, I think, as well for that, wouldn't he? Yeah, he's a nice horse. I just felt like he's kind of that Skelton horse that's now in the Skelton system, and go back through when he was with Phil Kirby, he won a nice race at Wetherby, and I think they thought a lot of him. He was off for a long time as well, year off the track or so, but he seems to be back, and I just thought he could be really competitive here, and I was kind of looking for an each-way price. 6-1's a bit skinny for that, but he'll be my tentative play in an open-looking affair. Very open, so don't blame you if you're looking for that each-way angle then in here. Deck, who'd you like?
Yeah, it is. It's really open. Got a full field of 18 here. I'm on a hold-up horse, so I'm going to need some luck in running. But it does look like there's going to be a bit of pace in the race. I think the Churchill lad will go forward, and Cauthness is a horse who likes to go forward as well. But to answer your question, Katie Tracey, I am with Black Hawk Eagle for the Kerry Lee yard. Really progressive horse. I thought the last twice he's won quite a bit snugly. This race was at Hereford now, we can see on the screen. You should go back and watch that on attheraces.com. I just loved the confidence Richard Patrick rode him in. Like, he gave the runner up there, 2 or 3 lengths going into the last, and he didn't panic, and he just quickened and picked him up really nicely. Watch the L2 lugs go forward here. He's got plenty left in the tank. Before this run, he did win in Wincanton, beating a horse called Georgie Girl. That horse has subsequently gone on to win 2 races, as now rated 125. This horse is now rated 122, and he was giving him £5 that day as well. Everything in the form book looks like he's progressing. The form is strong, and I would say he's got a massive pedigree, this horse. I was having a look. Black Hawk Eagle by Autad, from the family of Forever Together and Together Forever, and Lord Shannakill, and Who's an L. Let me have a quick look at my notes. Together Forever is the dam of City of Troy, who's obviously favoured for the Guineas and the Derby. So I don't think this horse is bred to be going over jumps, but he's by Autad, a sire that I really like. I just think they need a little bit of time. This lad has been given time by the Kerry Lee team. Kerry Lee and her yard have been in great order all season, and at the moment they are red hot. I think the last 4 horses they've sent out, 3 of them are won.
Oh, like that on the pedigree stats. That was impressive, wasn't it?
Any excuse to mention the flat A day.
Exactly, and any horse that has Hawk in its name as well. But I'm pleased that it was more so than just that, that you managed to put the case forwards for. Now, the 3 of us are all disagreeing again because I'm just hoping with Under Control. I don't have much doubt in my mind. She's the best handicapped horse. But of course, the biggest doubt any of us are going to have is the Henderson form at present. So it is going to be interesting to see how results go today from the yard, where we might then stand with Under Control, because if she gives her running, she is more than good enough to win this. And we're just seeing her in shot now. This was last time out. A massive bounce back to form for her on the back of a wind operation. This was actually a career best on RPRs, finishing second behind Ashrow Diamond in this Grade 2 Mares Hurdle at Doncaster. So if she can post this run again, back in a handicap off of a feasible mark, then I thought this race would suit her well. But of course, there's a slight ground concern.
I mean, I think you're brave, Kate. I suppose it's going to depend on your opinion. You're going to probably have a couple of runners today from the yard and a couple before the run, so at least you've got that in your favour so you can see. But the ground, I know she's won on soft, but if we get the worst of the forecast at the track, I think we might be all right to lay your favourite here, Kate.
This is another petition to get Lucy Verasamy on the show. We need accurate weather updates for the show each week.
He's still fighting that cause, Deck, fully and strongly there. Nicely done. But the EVF final, like you say, she won that on soft ground, and that was proper soft ground. You could see how much softer the hurdle track was than the chase track that day. The going stick readings that day did allow it to be very soft. So I'm hoping it was more the wind operation if Connections do run her, because they do seem quite keen to run her and try and do a Cheltenham Festival double, then it probably won't be as account of the ground. I'm hoping that the wind operation has just helped sort that out and she can deal with her testing conditions that bit better. But Under Control for me. Sam?
Sky Cutter for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be Great Hawk Eagle for me, I think.
Yes, well, Black Hawk Eagle, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it could be a Great Hawk Eagle after it goes and wins.
I've had that name in my head all morning, and I've had Black Hawk down as well. So I'll get there eventually. As long as it wins, that's all that matters.
That's all that counts, exactly. As long as you back the right horse, that's all that counts. Right, now, yet another competitive handicap for us to assess as we switch track again, and we head to Doncaster. This time for the Grinthorpe handicap chase, 5-year-olds and over 3 mile 2 at 340. Some scope heads the market at 3-1, bidding for a hat-trick and a third win from his 4th start over fences. So, Deck, who's siding with?
Yeah, I think this is a tricky betting race, especially if Doncaster get a lot of rain, because a lot of those horses to the front of the market have all got the recent form on good ground. So it'll be interesting to see how much rain they get. But I think Doncaster soft wouldn't be like, say, Foss last soft now or anything. So we'll see. And look, to be honest, the ground is a worry for my selection, which is Charlie Uberales, given he's got a summer jumps profile. He's a nice moving horse, and obviously he ran very well here at Doncaster in his last start in the Great Yorkshire Chase on good ground. I did have a look at his pedigree. He's by Geordie Land, who would give you hope that he'd handle soft ground, and the dam as well has also got relatives that have handled soft and heavy ground, so I'm hoping on pedigree he's got a good chance. I just loved his run last time out at Doncaster in the Great Yorkshire Chase. Now, that was a race Annual Invictus won. It was good ground and they went a hell of a gallop, and the likes of your selection in the earlier race, the Can Do Kid, I think a lot of those horses behind the bridle and don't travel. If you don't travel around Donny, it gets really, really tough for you. But this guy did go through his race like a classy horse. I think he's only rated in the low 120s, but I do think he's got a touch of class. He was able to lie up at the pace. He jumped very well and maybe just got a little bit tired late. I don't see an awful lot of pace in the race again tomorrow. I think Sean Quinn will bounce him out there and just have him track the pace. He does a lot right, and the trainers informed and say I think they're going okay at the moment. So yeah, I think Charlie Uberales will go well in what is a really open and competitive handicap.
Yeah, yet another one for us, isn't it? Yeah, we've been thrown a few challenges.
We're for punishment, aren't we, on this show?
We've upset the producer, clearly.
Yeah, we'll be complaining when we're back to 2 and 3 runner races into it before too long anyway, so make the most of this whilst we are, Sam. But who's siding with? with?
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for the favourite here, Some Scope. I think it's a really interesting profile, but at 3-1 and with the ground concerns that you've mentioned, Dec, I think I can leave the horse alone. And
the other thing with him as well, he didn't travel around Donny the last time at all. It was very hard work for him the last day.
So with that aside, I kind of went through the field and I thought, we're talking a lot about Gold Cups at the moment, aren't we? This is Under Supervision's Gold Cup, isn't it?
Yeah.
A standing dish in the race. This is the footage of him finishing second, a previous winner of it as well, the Grimthorpe. And I just thought to myself, he's been given a bit of a nice break, hasn't he, since pulling up in what was attritional conditions at the Beecher Chase, and he just doesn't like that sort of contest. I think it's fair to say.
He didn't enjoy that.
But you know, you reach a stage with these chases and trying something like that's not a problem. But he comes here relatively fresh. Before that race where he pulled up, he was third in a super competitive amateur race at the Cheltenham in November, and you know the yard are in form at the moment, around a 25% strike rate, and I kind of just felt I wanted tried and tested, versatile on the ground, Kate. How can you pick holes in this horse?
I can't.
That race gives me bad anxiety because we did the show last year, and that's why I put up Under Supervision.
Yeah.
And going through the race was the best he'd ever travelled. It was the best he'd ever jumped, and then Mordor comes and bloody chains him. So
And goes and gets him then.
deep pain.
Yeah, so you may as well have a saver on him then this year, around £2 higher mark than 4 last year. But like you say, this is his race where he's running it the last 2 years. Like you say, he won it 2 years ago, second in it last year, as we've just been seeing there. But £2 higher this time around. But he's only an 8-year-old. I had to double check that for a second. He should really only be coming into his prime now as a stayer. And like I say, I feel that he's been aimed at this. He can sulk. I don't think he enjoyed the big spruces that Vitesse presented him in the Beecher Chase last time out. So now that he's back over conventional fences at his track in his race, for me, I can see why people may argue it's not a fantastic price given that he's pulled up in a fair amount of his recent starts, but this is his aim. So yeah,
But it's relative, isn't it? You know, like that race at Aintree is unique, and it will suit some horses and others. So I can put a line through that. I appreciate there's another pulled up in there, but I think that run at Cheltenham suggested he was still a horse in love with the game.
And
Yeah,
that
I
race
agree.
at Aintree, that was proper heavy ground. Aintree heavy now, like, because all the watering they're doing on the National Hunt track or the Grand National track for obvious reasons. When it does rain at Aintree, I think that track gets very, very heavy. I don't think that suits.
No, he didn't like that, bless him. He didn't like that at all. But we're both with Under Supervision. Dec, just to remind us.
I'm with Charlie Uberales. I remembered the horse I'm selecting this time, which is helpful for viewers.
Always is. And finally, a bit of agreement then for us too as well. But again, do let us know your own selections in the comments section below as we head over to the Sky Pad to give you our Cheltenham Festival doubles as well as our best bets for the weekend. Right, something a bit different for you in this section as we select our Cheltenham Festival doubles. And again, all of these selections will be boosted on the website. So Sam, who are your two?
Yeah, pressure's on, isn't it?
Yes.
Win double time. This is our last selection of the series. Obviously, some of our Ante-Posts have been great, some not so great, but let's hope these doubles can add a bit of value. I've got 2 selections in mind, obviously, being a double. First one I'm going to kick off with is Galloping Deschamps to win the Gold Cup. I've gone round in circles on this race. I don't like taking a short price about a horse, especially for a championship race, but he just ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? I'd like to see the ground maybe dry out a little bit, but from all known form, he goes there, he jumps. If he's in good health, he wins as far as I'm concerned. And I'm pairing him up with a horse I needed to try and get a bit of juice into the price. So I'm taking on a favourite because I'm going to pair him with Stay Away Faye. I'm absolutely in love with this horse. I think I'm going to be the chairman of the Stay Away Faye fan club. I love how Paul Nicholls has campaigned the horse already this season. I'm convinced this is a Gold Cup horse in the making. He will show why Paul Nicholls is the best in the business, and I'm very, very confident that he'll give Factfile a real run for his money.
OK, 2 good staying chasers then for Sam in the different divisions, as you can see there on screen. Oh, 23 to 4, now boosted to 7 to 1. I'll let you do the maths for that one then.
You got a South African trader in your team.
I've never seen that price before in my life. But Stay Away Faye for the Brown Advisory, Galloping Deschamps for the Gold Cup, both to win at theraces.com/weekend winners, or make sure to utilise the QR QR code on screen there for Sam's Festival Double. Deck, who are your pair?
Yes, my pair are going to go in the Ryanair and in the Triumph Hurdle. I'll kick off with the Triumph selection. It's going to be Sergino. Look, I think he's obviously going to take a lot of beating. I don't think the viewers need me to tell them that he's got an outstanding chance. The only worry I have is just that the Henderson form, maybe this just been a little bit of a blip the last couple of weeks, and they're going to be good and healthy going to Cheltenham. At a bigger price, though, I like Stage Star in the Ryanair. I'm happy to take on the two 10-year-olds, Envoy Allen and Conflated. I think Banbridge is the biggest danger, but he mightn't run if this rain continues on soft ground, meaning I think Stage Star could probably go off favourite. Now, we did blot his copybook last time out at Cheltenham on New Year's Day, but I thought that returning relatively quickly after his massive Paddy Power success on heavy ground, it all just left a mark. He's best fresh, we know that. I was really encouraged by Paul Nichols on the stable tour and at theraces.com recently, saying that we've got him right where we want him, and because he's a horse that has little bits of niggly issues, but it sounds like he's in a good order at the moment. This horse jumps and travels and he's got class. He will do for me in the Ryanair. So those are two for you this week that can hopefully go in.
And boosted from 7-1 to 9-1 as well. Stage Star for the Ryanair, Sergino for the Triumph. Again, both to win. Make sure to head to the website or for the QR code then for Declan's Festival Double. Now, I'm siding with two mares that I've already put up. So go on the girls then at this festival. Of course, they're both going in mares races, so they better be mares really. Dysart Enos, who I've spoken about. I'm holding strong with her because all the hype for the Mares Novices Hurdle has been about brighter days ahead. And the Gordon Glint that we've now got a new term I didn't even know was going to be existing. But I'm trying to resist that because unlike Brighter Days Ahead, Dysart Enos has beaten the boys twice. She's going to get the £5 from Brighter Days Ahead, and she's got course and distance winning form. So for me, she's ticking a lot more boxes at this stage. Brighter Days Ahead, she might be an absolute worldie, and visually she has been very impressive. But Dysart Enos for me, I'm going to hold firm that Fergal O'Brien has been shrewd, and that will be rewarded. And of course, it's got to be Dino Blue in the mare's chase. I'm not concerned about the trip for her. As I've made the point previously, she's no way near as keen as she looks. And she is very much an out-and-out two-miler, given the pace that she has, given the jumping technique that she has. But she will give herself every chance of getting the distance. I mean, imagine if this race was over 2 miles, what price would she be? So I still think you're getting a fair price about her, given that slight question mark over the trip. But hopefully her class will prevail as well. And she is hardy. So hopefully, again, if there is any stamina doubts, that will compensate somewhat then for her as well. But there are my two girls, Dysart Enos for the Mares Novices Hurdle, Dino Blue for the Mares Chase, both to win 17-2 to 12-1 for that double. And again, the website and the QR code then to take advantage of that boost. But of course, before we get stuck into the Cheltenham Festival properly next week, more immediately, our best bets for this weekend. So Deck, you're up.
Yes, we are going to go to Newbury, which of course is live on Sky Sports Racing this weekend, and the Nap is going to run at Newbury in the 405. It is making your mind up for the Paul Nichols team. Did win over course and distance 3 weeks ago. Was only raised £3 for that. I thought that was lenient. The time in the sectionals combo that he put up stood up very well to what Shishkin did in the Denman Chase earlier in the card. So I think he's a well-handicapped horse. He's a little bit lazy, this fella, but he's very likeable and he jumps soundly. So I thought he would take a world of beating. The next best, we're going to go up to Kelso for I Right. He's going to take on Monbeg Genius. I'm happy to take on Monbeg Genius. He's had a stop-start season. He's probably got the Grand National as his main aim, and I'm not sure he's as good as his official rating either. I Right's recent form behind Sam Brown in the Veterans Chase has been boosted since. He loves Kelso as well, and it can get a little bit scary with this fella. It looks like he should have won a lot more races than he's won. He seems to tie up very late, but I'm hoping he'll be given a good ride by Craig Nicholl. And the long shot we've already discussed, that's going to be Charlie Uberales in the Grimthorpe Handicap Chase. Just hope it doesn't get too soft for him. So yeah, those are the trio I like this weekend.
Oh, I Right. That's bringing back some horrible memories of Chepstow earlier on in the season.
I think I might put an old in-running lay into him. He's not good for the old ticker, that lad.
I'd say that's probably the best way to play I Right at this stage. But they are deck selections then, for all that it may not be all that easy watching, at least on one of them, Sam. Hopefully yours will be.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm in danger of having a half-decent price nap as well. Get a bit of stick, don't I, for my shorties, which go in half the time, I suppose. But yeah, I'm going to go to Newbury for my nap and kick off with Grandeur Dam in the BetVictor Greatwood Gold Cup at 4-1. I've obviously outlined my reasons for him, but like I say, versatile on the ground, and I still think that December Gold Cup form, where he was fourth, is definitely strong enough to be a big player here for Alan King. Next best under supervision is his Gold Cup at the Grimthorpe. He's going to go well, hopefully. Fingers crossed, one better than 12 months ago and regain his crown. Like I say, the team there going pretty well, and 11-2 I thought was very fair in an interesting race. Now, Musical Slave's my long shot. I don't even know if we can really call him a long shot at 9-1.
Oh, we've been worse than that.
He was a little bit bigger. But interestingly, he's down to a mark of 130 now. The last time he was off that mark, who was he finishing second to? Well, it was on Whitbread Day at Sandown, and it was Hewitt, who's obviously gone on to have a slightly better career, I think it's fair to say, than Musical Slave. But Musical Slave does go okay in softer ground. He's been sort of lesser spotted, really, in the last couple of years, but I am convinced off this mark he can go well at a decent-ish price.
Yeah, we'll give you that. To be fair, we have been shorter, I think, on occasions for our long shot, but we won't go into that then, because I'm still waiting to see what the price is about my long shot coming up, because my nap is in a race that we haven't actually discussed yet. This is for 2:35 at Doncaster, a 2-mile handicap chase, and that's on Publique. I mean, this race could almost be a veterans contest, but I'm siding with the youngest legs in the race, the 7-year-old that is on Publique. Now, the biggest question mark for him is going to be the ground and whether or not he'll need this after a 71-day break, but connections are unlikely to run him if the ground is too deep. Hopefully he'll take his chance though. Very progressive, very likeable, be much happier going left-handed. Couldn't bring up the hat-trick last time out in a handicap at Ascot then, and he was effectively awarded second place, but prior to that he was also basically awarded a grade 2 at Cheltenham, and he jumped slightly out to his left at Ascot, so Doncaster should suit him more, and hopefully he'll be fit enough also to do himself justice. Now, my next best is also under supervision in the Grimthorpe handicap chase, 11-2. I think's a fair price about him. Second in the race last year, won it in 2022. Hopefully he doesn't sulk and can put his best foot forwards. And my long shot, phew, I'm getting the 10-1 at least. I was fearful for a second he might have shortened up. Bill Baxter in the BetVictor Greatwood Gold Cup. My main player is the Can-Do Kid, but I think this is a fair price about a horse who obviously won the Topham last year, and he is now £2 above that mark, and hopefully, I don't think he'll get an uncontested lead, but hopefully he'll still be able to outlast his rivals then in that contest. But that is everything from us on this week's show. So a big thank you to Dec and to Sam for all of their hard work as per usual. A big thank you to you at home for watching. Best of luck with your bets this weekend, and we'll be back at the same time next week with our Cheltenham Festival preview show. You really don't want to miss it.